Hello and welcome once again to the PC Security channel. Today we'll be talking about the big news, Marriott's data breach. I'm sure all of you have heard of the hotel chain. It's one of the largest in the world. Most of you have probably stayed there at some point of time, especially if you're from the US. They are pretty nice, the Marriott hotels. What is not nice, however, is that they recently had a massive breach in which they compromised all sorts of consumer data, including credit card information. Before we proceed in detail, I'm sure there's a lot of news out there that you've read regarding this. There are a lot of sources claiming a lot of things, but whenever something like this happens, keep in mind it's always a good idea to refer to the original source, which I will go to right now. There you go, their official press release. And I'll also kind of go through their wording and try to help you understand how these incident reports should be read and what you should infer from them. A lot of sources are going to try to infer different things from it, so it's always a good idea to read the original content and draw your own inferences. So, here's some key facts. They start off by stating that on November 19th, 2018, an investigation determined that there was unauthorized access to the database which contained guest information relating to reservations at Starwood properties on or before September 10th, so pretty recent. Now if we skip a little bit ahead, it says, Marriott learned during the investigation that there had been unauthorized access to the Starwood network since 2014. Now, they kind of lead into this instead of putting it directly at the front, but what it effectively means is that their network has potentially been compromised for over 4 years, which is crazy when you think of it. Who knows how much data they've collected by now and what they're doing with it. That is one cause for concern, but it only gets better from here. The company recently discovered that an unauthorized party had copied and encrypted information and took steps towards removing it. On November 19th, 2018, Marriott was able to decrypt the information and determine that the contents were from the Starwood guest reservation database. Kinda suggests that again it was a serious operation, it wasn't a joke or anything like that. They probably had good use for the data. The company has not finished identifying duplicate information in the database, but believes it contains information on up to approximately 500 million guests. And then it goes on to split that number into different categories depending on what was exposed, and this is where it gets interesting. So it says for approximately 327 million of these guests, the information included was some kind of name, phone number, email address, passport number, so a lot of key information, but not your credit card details. But that still leaves out a good 170 or 80 million people. And here's where they're completely vague. They say that for some, the information also includes payment card numbers, expiration dates, but the card numbers were encrypted using AES 128. There are two components needed to decrypt this data, and at this point, Marriott has not been able to rule out the possibility that they were both taken. Now, I know this kind of wording makes you feel, well, it's not that bad, right? I mean, it's likely that the data wasn't stolen, but no, that's not true. Because when a large corporation like Marriott makes a press release, they have experts reading it. They try to word it in a way that's least damaging to their reputation. So saying that they were not able to rule out the possibility that both were taken essentially means that both were taken. Because if they had any reason to believe that both were not taken, they would have made that a strong point in their release, but they couldn't ensure that. Potentially a lot of credit card details could have been hijacked in this massive data breach. I think it's even larger than the Equifax breach, which made headlines, and it just falls a bit shy of the Yahoo breach. A lot of people, 500 million to be precise, are obviously in panic because they don't know what's going on. I've been reading funny tweets throughout the last week. People mentioning, hey, I was in my hotel room and I just figured this out. Now this raises a big question given that even such a reputed hotel chain like Marriott, as rich as they are, they had such gaping security vulnerabilities that led to this incident. What is the price that they pay? What do you get back as consolation as someone who's a victim of this? And senators in the US are already calling for tougher privacy laws, more severe breach penalties, so that's an interesting political take on it. At the moment though, Marriott has only mentioned free web watcher enrollment. I mean, they can't really compensate everyone because compensating 500 million people, they'd probably go bankrupt. But what you can do is you can sign up for their web watcher service, which is going to monitor internet sites where your personal information might be shared, and it's going to give you an alert if it detects that, I guess. I've never used it. I don't know how good it is. I don't know if you want to trust them again with more data on another service. Depends on how you look at things. In terms of the political action, I'm still not sure how we should go about incidents like this. As the cyber world becomes more real and relevant, legislation has to kind of get into it at some point. We can't have no legislation on the internet if the internet affects people's lives in a very real way. But this is unexplored territory, and there's so many things that can go wrong when you try to enforce these laws, especially if the legislators are people who have no idea how things work from a technical standpoint. So I do believe that we should tread carefully when it comes to making laws about cybersecurity or privacy. A lot of them can have unintended consequences, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope this video helped you understand the situation. I try to keep it concise. I don't really want to ramble too long about this because there isn't any more information. And trust me, if any websites are claiming to have information beyond this, they're just making it up because this is Marriott. Whatever investigation they're doing is going to be an internal matter. Unless they put something out, it's really hard for someone on the outside to know anything. So I hope you found this helpful. Please like and share the video if you did. This is Leo from the PC Security channel. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay secure.